This is the video that has launched the speculation all over the internet that Ben Affleck and his ex-wife Jennifer Garner might be getting back together. Here we see them. They're at some kind of a paintball place. I understand it was their son's birthday. He wanted to have a celebration at a paintball location. Here they are playing. And Ben almost unconsciously, it's very clear that it wasn't something deliberate. He just moves over closer to his ex-wife, puts his arms around her waist, and just stays there for 2.5 seconds. Jen doesn't do anything, and he just moves his arms away. It's very peculiar behavior for a couple that are no longer together. They're not even a couple anymore. And so it begs the question, is there something going on? Are they actually getting back together? Were the rumors that have been circulating for months during the last couple of months of Ben and J-Lo's marriage? There were rumors that the reason why Bennifer 2.0 was coming to an end is because J-Lo became aware of the fact that Ben just couldn't get over his ex-wife, Jen Garner. Were those rumors true? And to that I say, I really don't know. I am as perplexed as the rest of you to see these two people who have such shared history. All their children are between each other. He doesn't have any children with other people. Jen doesn't have any children with another man. Their 3 children are all between the two of them. They were married for 10 years. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of heaviness to pretend that it just doesn't have any bearing in the present time. Now, from what we understand, Jen has a boyfriend. As a matter of fact, we think that they're engaged to be married. Her rumored fiance, John, we have seen them together. There were times when we haven't seen them together, but then he reappears. How does John feel seeing these images that we ourselves have seen? What does this mean? This goes beyond, oh, they're friendly co-parents. No, the way he so easily and casually put his arms around her waist, that's not we're just friends, we're friendly. No. Especially when you have such a long romantic history behind you. This is not normal. And I just wonder what her rumored fiance is thinking right now. Are they still together? Now, I am big on families staying together. Ben and Jen Garner have a long history. They have children. It seems to me that Jen Garner was the best thing to ever happen to Ben Affleck. He just seemed to be teetering on the edge in all his previous relationships before Jen. And after they got a divorce, he spiraled out of control. And it was Jen who came to his rescue and took him to rehab and helped him to get his life back together. And I think I've talked about this before on how I think that makes absolute sense. He is the father of her children. And if something were to happen to Ben, her children would be devastated. So as a mother, of course, Jen is going to do everything in her power to make sure that her ex-husband is okay, that he is in good mental state, so that he can be not only a present figure in his children's life, but he can be a positive influence on his children. Once you have that kind of a history with somebody and you share so much in the form of 3 children, you are invested in their well-being, even if you're not together. You can't just walk away and say, okay, good luck with whatever goes on with you, because your children are still there and they love him and they need him. So of course, Jen Garner was there when no one else was there. And Ben knew this. Not every man is lucky enough to have an ex-wife that is so willing to bend over backwards and to be there for him and to help him, to continue to be a good positive influence in his life. And Jen Garner has demonstrated over these years that she's willing to be that person, to be his support system, to be the kind of person that he can call when he has no one else to call. He didn't have to call Matt Damon, his best friend, when he needed somebody to take him to rehab. He called on what seems like is his true best friend, Jen Garner. I think this is a positive thing. But do I think that Jen Garner should get back with Ben Affleck? Actually, I don't. I really don't think Ben Affleck is good for anybody. And I know that sounds harsh. I know how horrible that sounds. I was looking at the comment section under this when TMZ posted this on Instagram. And I had seen my favorite comment. I don't see it anymore. I hate when Instagram does that. When you look at something and then when you come back the next time, everything has changed. Stop doing that, Instagram. This is why we don't like you anymore. You're going the way of Twitter. But anyway, that's another video. But my favorite comment that I had seen under this video was somebody stating exactly who Ben Affleck is by saying, Ben likes what he likes until he gets it, and then he no longer wants what he once liked. That is Ben Affleck. He will chase a woman, and once he has her, he will push her away. He did this to J-Lo the first time. Then he did it to Jen Garner. And I truly believe that the fact that that marriage lasted as long as it did, it was because of Jen Garner. I think she really worked really hard. She fought tooth and nail to save her marriage, which could have come to an end much sooner. But because she had children with this man, she did everything in her power to save that relationship and keep her family together. And then it came to a point where she couldn't do it anymore. He publicly cheated on her with the nanny. The nanny, that is as low down as it gets. He cheated with the nanny, and Jen Garner just couldn't do it anymore. And she did what she had to do, which is leave, try to do the best to take care of her children, try to keep it as amicable as possible, and just be there for her children and her ex-husband to ensure that even though they were no longer romantically together, their family would always be together. And she did a great job. And she maintained that smile on her face. She continued to have family gatherings for birthdays, for special occasions, graduations. When their eldest daughter went to college last year, they all went together as a family. She made sure that her dad was not excluded from that experience. Jen Garner wins the gold medal in ex-wives. And that is all fine and dandy. But getting back together with a man who is so good at destroying the relationships he fights so hard to get back, no, it's not good for Jen. So like I said, he did this to J-Lo the first time. Then he did this to Jen. Then after the divorce, he was in a relationship. I'm trying to remember the name of the girlfriend he had. I think they were together for quite some time. I'm going to put her name on the screen. And she seemed to also be a pretty good influence on his life. I understand that Jen Garner and this woman were very good friends because Jen probably thought, okay, this is the woman who's going to become my children's stepmom. So we're going to get along. We're going to be just fine. And I'm going to make sure that she knows that she's welcome in our lives. But then that didn't last. And I can imagine that Ben sabotaged that relationship as well. And then came Bennifer 2.0. And I don't know what was the dynamic between Jen Garner and J-Lo. It seems as if they tried to keep it friendly, but I can't help but think that there was some kind of a resentment there on the part of Jen Garner for J-Lo. Because J-Lo, and I've talked about this, I have a whole videography of videos that I've made on J-Lo and Ben's relationship. I'm going to link some of them below, and you can go ahead and watch them. But J-Lo was kind of messy in the way she came back to this relationship because she made a point of publicly letting the public know that even though Ben was married to Jen Garner all those years, he kept the love letters and the emails between him and JLo. And when him and JLo got back together, he presented her with a book where he had printed out all the love letters that he had kept. And that was a dig at Jen Garner. It was saying, yeah, you may have had him for 10 years and you had a family with him and blah, 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 but he never stopped thinking about me. I was the one that got away. And I just want you to know that. And I wouldn't blame Jen Garner for keeping a bit of a cold shoulder towards JLo. But even with that, it seems as if Jen Garner kept it nice. She did it nice. She was diplomatic. She was sweet. She made sure to include JLo in the celebrations, the graduations, birthdays. JLo went to the home when there were celebrations, when the whole family was there. Jen Garner did the mature thing. You are now a part of our family. You are a major part of my children's life. So you are welcome here with us. But there was still some kind of a coldness there. And I don't blame her. But she kept it friendly and cordial between them. But even in those circumstances, Ben did the same thing to JLo the second time around. And this time it was worse. Because this time there were all these public displays of we are back together and it's better than ever before. And yes, he is the love of my life and she is the love of my life. And here is this documentary and here is this movie telling people don't give up on true love because the second time around can be even better than the first time around. And all for it to end so publicly and embarrassingly quickly. He left the house. They weren't even together for 2 years this second time around when Ben moved out of the house and rented a house that he was paying $100,000 a month to rent. That's how desperate he was to get away from JLo. Ben is for the streets. Now, I don't know if since he ended with JLo, he has moved on. There were rumors that he was dating the daughter of Bobby Kennedy Jr. I don't know how true that was. We never saw any images of him with her. So I don't know if Ben has moved on since then. But I do know that this man, he doesn't know how to keep a relationship. And the only kind of a woman who can have some kind of a long-term relationship with him is somebody who, like Jen Garner, is going to fight tooth and nail for her relationship. And JLo is the type of person who, she's not going to do that because JLo needs to be the center of attention in her relationship. She needs to be the one who is adored and worshipped in her relationship. And if the man is running, she's going to run in the opposite direction. And that's exactly what happened. Although I think she did try. She did hold on a little longer because I truly believe that Ben is her one true love. Or at least she has aggrandized him in her mind because he never lasts long enough for her to really get tired of him and move on to the next guy, which is her MO. And so I just don't think he's good for anybody. I hope Jen Garner, at least, I mean, if you look at the video again. It seems as if he's the one holding on to her and she's not reacting. And then he kind of catches himself and he's like, oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm acting on autopilot. This is what I wish we were, but this is not what we are. Let me snap back to reality. And he kind of moves away. I hope that's the case. I really want better for Jen Garner. I don't know who her fiance is. It seems like he's a really reasonable guy because he's been holding on all these years, even though Jen has kept a really close relationship with Ben for the sake of the children. I hope we're all wrong and this is not what it seems. I want better for Jen Garner. Ben needs treatment for his attachment and detachment situation. He really needs to get to the root of his relationship problems. But you let me know what you think. This was a brief little video, a little voiceover. This is one of the first voiceovers that I have. I'm trying to incorporate some of these type of videos. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see me do more commentary. Please give a like if you agree with what I said. Give a comment. Let me know what you think. Share this video with others. Watch my other videos on these topics of J-Lo and Ben and Jen Garner. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.